The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. To get tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher. Wonder when it does now, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
Eternal Father, bless, guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through compassion. To our leaders, great defenders, justice, truth be forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica, land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Strengthen us till we give us wisdom lest we perish not.
The following is a public service announcement.
The Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force and One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation invite Jamaican patriots and friends in the tri-state area to the second staging of a call to action. Meet us on Friday, May 10th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Jamaica's Consulate, located at 300 East 42nd Street, corner 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. That's a call to action for Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica who are seeking the best solutions for Jamaica. May 10th at 9 a.m. at the Jamaican Consulate at 42nd Street and 2nd Avenue. Listen to Reason with Radigan Saturdays at 3 p.m. on Reggae Global Radio and YouTube for updates.
Eternal Father, bless, guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through compassion. To our leaders, great defenders, justice, truth be forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica, land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Strengthen us till we give us wisdom lest we perish not.
The following is a public service announcement.
The Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force and One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation invite Jamaican patriots and friends in the tri-state area to the second staging of a call to action. Meet us on Friday, May 10th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Jamaica's Consulate, located at 300 East 42nd Street, corner 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. That's a call to action for Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica who are seeking the best solutions for Jamaica. May 10th at 9 a.m. at the Jamaican Consulate at 42nd Street and 2nd Avenue. Listen to Reason with Radigan Saturdays at 3 p.m. on Reggae Global Radio and YouTube for updates.
If you're looking for an online magazine aiming to captivate and empower, look no further than Daisy Magazine. Daisy Magazine is the leading online publication in the US. Subscribe to Daisy Magazine, the digital subscription publication. Subscribe at www.magster.com/p/Daisy. Subscribe to the leading online publication, Daisy Magazine.
Okay, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is having a wonderful and productive week so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone. Happy Tuesday to those in television land. Happy Tuesday to those of our silent viewers, and happy Tuesday to those in the chat. Tonight's topic is Nigel defended Juliet and sink the budget and did an unauthorized flight land in Jamaica, with your host as usual, Byron and Anne-Marie. So remember, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can, and if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. It will be greatly appreciated. Let me just go ahead and welcome those in the chat. We have quite a few persons: Leighton Brown, Don Mel, Rels White, Oliver Rodney, Yvonne Joy, Rafe, Noreen, Latham, Doreen, Abina, Megavolt, Cynthia Beer, a channel member, Montague, Cooking with Miss Brown, Kanda Max, another of our channel members, welcome, J. Lewis, Laris, Rennie, Juba Bruce Love TV, Jeffrey Worrell, Fitzroy Nugent, Quiet Boy Entertainment, and Soroyo Iris, Brittany L, welcome. Happy Tuesday to each and everyone. I'm just gonna go ahead and hand over to Baron to start the discussion.
All right. Thank you for that, honey. As always. Today, as you see, we have a little bit of rough start, but we were able to still maneuver and get over those rough edges. Yes, remember when I started, as it relates to the Integrity Commission report, and I said to my ardent listeners that whenever, I reach throughout the report where the illicit six, any one of the illicit six, right, that I find in the report, of course, I will definitely put it out. Now, let me say this, Jamaica. Let me say this. We have what we always suspected, right, to be one of the illicit six. And if such person is one of the illicit six, then the significant other is a part of the illicit six. What we have, right, is a report that carry 107 pages. And so then that is one of the reasons why we did have such obstacle, whether to involve it tonight or to have it for Friday. And we have to make a quick decision. But I want to tell you, right, my folks, that report is extremely telling. And let me say this. We are confident into our information as a result of this report, right? We can guarantee that Andrew Holness cannot get a third term. Let me say that specifically clear for those who are listening. Andrew Holness cannot get a third term. So then, Friday, we are going to have, of course, Aromatic and other persons here to dissect and bite in. And we will be releasing that report, right? And so then, of course, for those who want to tune in when we are going to reveal that report. So we make a decision, right, not to involve that report tonight, right? So please see with me, because as I said, it's a 107 page, right? And all of the process of interrogation and all the questions, right, wrapped up in that report, right? So, yes, I can say, right, without any hesitation, right, that, right, Andrew Holness appears, right, to definitely be one of the illicit six. Friday, we are going to go through the detail and expose it. Because as I promised, I said, from once I find it, we are going to deliver it, right? And we have no hesitation in delivering that. Now, so that being said, right, tune in Friday for that, right? Now we are going to go through what the big news for this week, right, which is, of course, 218 Indians, right, that came to Jamaica, right? Some people said, they came in unauthorized, right? And it became an issue, right? Now, based on the information, in terms of what I have, right? Obviously, I can say categorically, that the flight was not unauthorized. And I'm going to explain that, right, as it relates to, right, the information that we are getting out. But anyhow, apart from that, that situation has some serious predicament, right? So we are going to go through the detail. One of the first things that I want for my listeners to understand as it relates to the situation that was reported via two different platforms as it relates to mainstream media. And of course, there were some instances where they got it wrong. So I'm going to show you, right, as it relates to what was communicated on YouTube, right, with TVJ, right? And I am going to then go to the Gleaner, right? Because between TVJ and the Gleaner, there are some inconsistencies where we are going to point them out, right? And then we show, right, the proof as it relates to the flight being a scheduled flight to Jamaica. And people, that is the problem. Because indeed, it was a scheduled flight to Jamaica. So our air traffic control know about this flight prior to the flight arriving in our airspace. And I'm going to show that. So without any delay, let us play the first clip as it relates to what TVJ communicated, which TVJ has it wrong. Let us play that.
We begin this afternoon with news of the suspected smuggling operation TVJ has been following exclusively. The situation has again led to concerns about Jamaica's security border. This after authorities detected the operation involving 218 Indian nationals who arrived in the country on Friday. Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Angela Brown-Burke is demanding answers from the government.
The one border over which we have control becomes as porous as others, then we would be in serious trouble. You know, we want to know the origin, destination, and apparent purpose of the flight. You know, the identity of the individuals or organizations responsible for chartering the flight. Why the flight was allowed to land in Jamaica without proper clearance. Why standard immigration and customs procedures were not followed. Where are the 218 persons who were on board? What is to be done about their continued presence in Jamaica? And what measures are being taken by the JCF to ensure the safety and security of the Jamaican public.
The German embassy is now involved in the matter as the aircraft's crew is German. TVJ News understands that they're upset because they didn't plan to stay in Jamaica for an extended period. They have extended to fly the charter with the passengers to Jamaica and then depart. The crew then contacted the embassy in Kingston, which intervened. TVJ News also understands that a multi-agency operation is now underway to try to take the 218 passengers back out of the country. But a highly placed source says it appears they may not leave until Tuesday due to a series of, quote, nightmare issues, end quote. We will continue to track this story and have more in subsequent newscasts.
Okay. So what we have, where one of the mediums is reporting that they have been here from Friday, while the other has been reporting that they have been here from Thursday. The truth about that information is that they have been here from Thursday. So let us play the Jamaica Gleaner. Indians awaiting flight clearance to depart.
Again.
All right, just bear with us. We are coming up with the information. We are getting some little problem here. So
sorry, just one sec. Let me just put it in a different link because I signed in already, so I don't know why it reverted to that.
Okay, so just bear with us, guys. Sometimes that's how computer is, right? Glitches and errors at times.
Okay, let me just put it over here. Open it. All right, there we go. All right, let me just share that.
So that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't know why it's bringing it back.
All right, so here we have it. Indians awaiting flight clearance to depart Jamaica, published Monday, May 6, 2024. Scores of Indians who arrived in Jamaica on Thursday without proper documentation are currently in the departure lounge of the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, awaiting flight clearance to leave. This after the group of 220 Indians, German crew members, and at least one French citizen landed in Jamaica on chartered flight XG201 from Cairo International Airport in Egypt. The flight transited through Dubai. The USC GmbH carrier in which they arrived is registered in Germany and operated by USC Aero, a company founded in 2020 by airlines professionals. Sources who spoke with the Gleaner on Saturday confirmed that the majority of the Indians were headed to Nicaragua, while some of them were destined for Canada. The Gleaner was told that the group was scheduled to arrive and stay in the island for 5 days before departing for the intended destinations. They were out at the ROK Hotel in downtown Kingston at their expense, but under the supervision of immigration officers and the police. Now, this is a problem. And let me say, because if you have these persons under supervision by the immigration officers and the police, there is no way that they should have left the hotel confinement. These persons were seen clearly, right, out of their confinement and in other areas, right? So that is a serious safety issue, right? So let us read on. The Gleaner sources say the Indians were allowed to leave the hotel daily, okay? We didn't consider them high risk, one source said. It is not clear whether all the passengers who arrived on Thursday will be on the departing flight. More to come. Okay, so let us take away that. Now, people, this is what the government of Jamaica responded as it relates to the situation. And we are going to show the response as it relates to the government press release, right? And then, of course, we are going to explain the entire situation. So let us get into the government press release. In the overlay.
So yeah.
$200%.
To do it in the overlay too.
This is not it. This is not it. Government of Jamaica responded.
That is it. Arrangement for safe departure of charter flights.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. Are they seeing it? 200%?
That's the best I can do. The screen is expanded.
Okay. So here is it as it relates to the government press release. Arrangements in train for safe departure of charter flight, USC GmbH. The Ministry of National Security wishes to update the public on the arrangement in place to supervise the departure of the USC GmbH flight, a German registered aircraft with 253 passengers, including crew members. The flight arrived in Jamaica legally on Thursday, May 2, 2024, having received the requisite approvals for operation from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, despite having arrangement in place for accommodation and departure from the country. The passengers were refused entry by immigration officials based on security concerns and covered during their processing at the airport. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, in collaboration with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, has been leading the operational response since their arrival. So let me say, as it relates to this information, right? As it relates to the Civil Aviation Authority, right, anticipating the arrival of this aircraft, this information is actually true. The passengers' flights are routinely screened by local authorities for security threats, possible breaches of law and or regulations. In this instance, while the ministry was alerted to the operation of the flight based on what appeared to be anomalies and missing details from its initial permit application, the necessary supporting documents were later supplied to satisfy the requirement for obtaining a permit to operate to Jamaica. Notwithstanding, the ministry continued to consult with law enforcement while the flight received clearance to operate. Okay. To operate, and the immigration authorities undertook pre-screening activities as per standard operating procedures. All right. Now, so that to settle the information as it relates to persons who are saying that the flight was not authorized, and the medias are saying that okay, there was a lot of breakdown. They did not come in right as it relates to the authenticated authorization, right? Well, that could not happen as it relates to a flight coming into Jamaica. And what I have done is also, right, get a document, right, for us to show the reason why, right, there is no way a flight can come into, an airspace, right, without, not being scheduled. There's two situations as it relates to scheduled flight and unscheduled flight. Now, I want to, let me just go through a document here. Okay. So let me just explain this to persons. Now, I just want to bring up a document to show persons as it relates to why that information is true. Let me just get into the document and have it shared, right? We start a bit because I have to rush in from work and do all of that. Put up this document. Let me share it to people.
I have it already up there.
Okay.
Just it again. Hold on. It's not the one I couldn't get up there. I have that one.
Okay, good. Okay, so you have it. All right. So
yeah.
So let me speak to persons as it relates to before you put it up.
Okay.
There is no way, right? You can have an unauthorized flight coming into, right, an airspace, right, like that, without the flight being, unidentified. Now, as it relates to a certain standard, if you have an unidentified flight, an unscheduled flight, by law, 2 or 3 miles of the approaching destination, the pilot, right, the air traffic, Jamaica air traffic control, right, looking on their radar, would have seen that plane coming in to their airspace. As it relates to the law, right, 2 to 5 miles out, the air traffic, Jamaica air traffic control, right, would have now have some communication, right, for that plane, for that aircraft to identify itself, right, and vice versa, right? If they don't respond, right, then by law, as it relates to someone intruding someone's airspace, such aircraft, right, can be fired upon. So then you can't have just, and let me just go through the document so that I read it and let you understand where that is going.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. Airspace is divided into what you call FIRs, Flight Information Regions. These correspond to different countries, but don't have the same borders. The FIR is often larger than the country legal airspace, which does correspond to the country boundaries. What does that mean? Simply means that Jamaica airspace, right, out of the immediate airspace, right, they sort of somewhat control that in terms of where communication can make contact to any airline that is coming in or any unidentified airline that is coming in. The FIR are even established quite far from land. For example, planes flying over the Atlantic will probably at least talk to Gander Radio from Canada to about halfway across, then be told to contact Shanwick Radio for the rest of the trip. In any case, the airplane is required to contact the appropriate agency for the FIR. When approaching a new FIR, to a new region, they will be told to contact, let's say, Terran Control had given a frequency by the current FIR controllers or radio facility to do so. Terran controllers will know that the airplane is coming as the flight plan is transmitted in advance. So there goes, as it relates to what I am saying, as it relates to that airline could not, right, get into Jamaica, right, unauthorized, right? Note that this is not the same as an overflight permit. Many countries require prior permission in order to fly over their territory. That's what I'm saying. No, let me read that again. Note that this is not the same as an overflight permit. Many countries require prior permission in order to fly over their territory, but all of the FIR is not necessarily their national territory. Some may be part of international airspace offshore. In that case, the governing agency may charge navigation and communication fees, but may not refuse passage. All right. So then, yes. So as it relates to the flight that brought in the 218, right? The flight was well scheduled, right? The air traffic control, right, was definitely anticipating the arrival of that flight. So that should settle everything as it relates to certain news media saying that, okay, all right, unauthorized and this and that and that. So that clear it up, right? It couldn't have done, right? Based on what we have read there. Normally, when time an airline is going to said, I am flying from Canada to go to Jamaica. Normally, if I'm flying on WestJet or Air Canada, right? From the departure, right? The manifesto, right, would have electronically sent to Jamaica as it relates to the airline, right? The altitude where the airline, you understand, is going to be flying at, right? The how many passengers aboard, all the information regarding the passengers would have been communicated, right, to the arriving country, right, so that they know the altitude from which they will be flying at, right, because you don't want to have accident, right, in the aerial space. So they need to know the altitude, and when they reach in the destination airspace, again, you're going to need clearance, right, to land. And so then that goes to show you what the media was actually reporting, right? It just couldn't go like that, right? The flight period was not unauthorized. So I hope we settle that. Aromatic, Maria, big up on yourself. All right. People, remember to run over, support Aromatic always. And of course, Maria, I want people to also support Daisy magazine. Let us just play it one more time, honey, right, to show people as it relates to Daisy magazine, right? Just play that one more time for me.
If you're looking for an online magazine aiming to captivate and empower, look no further than Daisy Magazine. Daisy Magazine is the leading online publication in the US. Subscribe to Daisy Magazine, the digital subscription publication. Subscribe at www.magster.com/p/Daisy. Subscribe to the leading online publication, Daisy Magazine.
All right. So listen, guys, now let us talk about this as it relates to the 218 Indians that arrived, right, in Jamaica. One of the first things that we are to observe, they're all males, right? Now, what was their mission? Right? I have some information here as it relates to these persons have no interest in Jamaica, right? They have no interest in Jamaica, right? They want to rooted, right, from Jamaica to Nicaragua. And after rooted to Nicaragua, where they actually want to reach, right? For some of them, want to get into Russia. So it has nothing to do with Jamaica. I have certain information that I want to show. These group of persons had tried it in France. And France had interrogated, right, the same nationality, Indian, who had done it in France, right? And they were stopped in France. They were screened in France, interrogated, and sent back to India. So their mission is to route now through Jamaica, go to Nicaragua, right? And get into Russia. So why they want to get into Russia? Let me explain this. Now, we talk about the BRICS. The BRICS 5. Who are the BRICS 5? Let us name it. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Those are the BRICS 5. Russia is fighting Ukraine. Now, India is a part of the top bread BRICS 5. And so then, who India is going to support? What we are dealing with a geopolitical situation, right? As it relates to those Indians using our route, right, to get to Nicaragua, then to get into Russia, right? And so then, as it relates to evidence, as it relates to they had attempted this situation in France to get into Russia and they were stopped, right? I wanted was to share that document so that you all can read that document as it relates to what France done. So I'm going to, for some reason, I am not able to put it up because of some technical issues and the way how we had gotten the information, right? And then I don't want to reveal certain information, but I am going to read, right, from the information as it relates to what I have here, right? Now, this is coming from Explainer News. Human trafficking. Indians sent back by France over trafficking concerns. What we know, a makeshift courtroom was set up in a French airport to investigate human traffic concerns. The flight en route to Nicaragua, just like how in Jamaica, where these Indians and where the flight en route to Nicaragua. Here is the evidence as it relates to what we are getting from France. Let me read it over. A makeshift courtroom was set up in a French airport to investigate human trafficking concerns. The flight en route to Nicaragua from the United Arab Emirates was stopped in France for 4 days, just like how they stopped in Jamaica, particularly for the 4 days. So you see the similarity. You see the similarity, right? The similarity with France and the similarity with Jamaica. This is another attempt of them using this time Jamaica as a route to get to, right? To get to, right? Russia. Now, the flight en route to Nicaragua from the United Arab Emirates was stopped in France for 4 days before most of its Indian passengers were sent home and landed in Mumbai on December 26, 2023. A plane carrying suspected victims of human trafficking was rerouted to India while on its way to Nicaragua. All right, now let us put that out. Just want to. Oh, she didn't get the link.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to make that clear. Now, let us start now, people. We want to speak. So people are asking the question, who paid for their flight? All right? People are asking the questions, who paid for their flights? Now, based on intel, of course, that we have, now the offer as it relates to those persons who want to go and fight as it relates to on behalf of Russia, right? I mean, the oligarchs are paying hefty sum of money, And so then, of course, they are volunteering as it relates to getting that hefty sum of money. Now, as it relates to Jamaica caught up into the situation, as it relates to our France, likewise, caught up into the situation in terms of dealing, right, with these Indians, right, trying to find a route, right, to get into, right, Russia. Now, the thing is, the question that we need to ask, right? I don't know if Jamaica should have done maybe certain due diligence in terms of try to understand, right, the situation prior to, them arriving, or prior for them, getting into the schedule, right, as it relates to, them booking, right, the route, and what was the due diligence in that. So then, is it a situation that, okay, because what is important, why they choose Jamaica, right? Why did they choose Jamaica? Did any of our politicians or anyone being compromised? So let me ask that question. I'm not going to say people compromise because I don't have the evidence in terms of saying people compromise, you understand, to allow them to use our airspace, right, and use us as a hub, right, to get to where they want to go, right? Now, some say that their mission was Nicaragua and Canada. Obviously, they would have some problem, right, if they want to go to Canada. Because in doing that, you'd automatically have to have a visa, right, to get to Canada, unless they have a way how they want to get to Canada, right, through illegal means. I don't know. So then, as it relates to that situation, right, just for the comfort of Jamaicans, right, these people have no interest in Jamaica as it relates to what you have seen, right, and people who want to consult as it relates to the information, right, where they have attempted the very same thing in France, right, and France stopped them and have them sent back. Now they tried it in Jamaica. So they don't really have any true interest in Jamaica, like to come and take over jobs in Jamaica, to come and do this in Jamaica, and so forth. They don't have that interest. That is not their interest, right? So I hope I make that known, right? Now, someone asked, wasn't an emergency landing?
It wasn't an emergency landing, just saying that it wasn't an emergency
landing. Okay, all right. Now, let us get into the heat of certain things now. So I hope I cleared up that situation. I honestly don't want to go deeper into certain information where that is concerned, right, as it relates to, you understand, certain geopolitical issues. So we're just leaving it there. I just want, you understand, for Jamaica awareness to say that, okay, this doesn't really concern Jamaica as it relates to them having interest, right, to come to Jamaica, right, to live in Jamaica or you understand, get work in Jamaica, or it is nothing like that, right? They have no such interest, right? Point blank and period. Mystic, that plane had a woman and children. This Jamaica plane had 250 rusty ton men, bulls who, yes. But with the France, with the France situation, right? Of course, yeah, women and children were there, but also, right, militants were among them. And that is why they were interrogated, and after certain things being discovered, right, they were sent back, right, because among them, and this time now, what as you said, you understand, you have peer you know, all men, right, definitely destined for to use Jamaica as a route to get to Nicaragua.
But can I say something? I
Yes.
think what happened in the France situation, because they know that France have more I think France have more intelligence than us.
Yes.
So they put women and children amongst the mix to try to disguise their whole operation. But coming to Jamaica, they took the chance to say Jamaica, would not ask so many questions, and so they didn't have to really try to mix it up. They just came as just men, because they know what their mission was and where they were heading, and they didn't expect Jamaica to stop them, ask questions, and figure out certain things.
Right. So the thing is, in terms of all the media carried it as it relates to the electronic media and print media, right? A bit of misinformation there, right? Because as I said, and as been established, right, it wasn't an unauthorized flight. It was indeed an authorized and scheduled flight, right? So I hope that being cleared up right there. So now let us get into this, because as I said, Andrew Holness, right, is now, and I don't know if obviously he's seeking a third term. But as usual, Andrew Holness, you understand, just being diabolically, you understand, a liar, and continue to speak about 18 years, yes, about 18 years of PNP, right, damaging Jamaica, which that is definitely false. Andrew Holness, you know that is false. And that is something that is reinforcing, knowing to the fact that he is lying. And so then I am going to again, right, just put him out there speaking, and we are going to, of course, have to correct him again, right? Because a lot of people do believe that 18 years the PNP done a lot of bad things, and in evidence we know that the 18 years PNP had done extremely well, right, in strengthening the economy. So we have to break down that. So without any further ado, let us play this.
Okay.
There is a generation born in the 90s and the early 2000s. They have no clue as to how the 18 and a half years of the PNP destroyed Jamaica.
Jamaica, them can't hold me again.
There is a generation born in the 90s and the early 2000s. They have no clue as to how the 18 and a half years of the PNP destroyed Jamaica.
Okay. So that is what you understand. He's saying the misinformation, the disinformation, right, and the lies that he continues to tell. But let me say this: Friday, we are going to get into his business, right? And as I am very much confident that, of course, after Friday, you will not be able to get a third term, because Friday we will be coming at you, right? So then, I don't want to put you into tonight's mix. Hold on. You all know Squidru good at sending away or firing someone. Then that person pop up back in the same place. Squidru claim they were gone from or in a different place, but basically the same. Exactly. So let us give him some refreshing, right, memory, right, as it relates to what we had achieved within that 18 years that him and his minions are talking about. 18 years of strong success, 18 years of PNP building and strengthening this economy. And it takes Andrew 8 years. 8 years, and I'm going to say clear tonight, that all the tax that you have collected, Andrew, all the tax that you have collected for the 8 years gone into politicians' pocket. $1.7 trillion unaccounted for as it relates to our treasury. And so then, you are here with such audacity, knowing that, of course, you, right, apparently is one of the illicit fix, right? Friday, we are going to get into that. Now, let us show, as it relates to Lisa Anna, teaching Andrew Holness the truth, because he doesn't speak the truth. So let us, have Lisa Anna teach him the truth. Yes, Lisa.
What is it that makes access to proper amenities and social services for all, and not just a few, that makes some of us so uncomfortable? Why should wealth be reserved for a few and not all? Jamaica is a young democracy, and we can't move the country forward by leaving the masses behind. Let me remind you that I am a product of those 18 years under the People's National Party. I was born here, I went to high school here and university, and I've worked here. In the 18 years under the PNP, we have established and implemented the Poverty Alleviation Through Health and Education Program Path, JSIF, the National Council of Education, the National Works Agency, NEPA, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, the Drugs for the Elderly Program, JADEP, the National Health Fund, NHF, the National Contracts Commission, the Fair Trading Commission, the OUR, the Early Childhood Commission, the Financial Services Commission, the Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation, JUTC, both major highways, Highway 2000 and the North-South Highway, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and TPDCO, upgrades to both the Norman Manley and the Donald Sangster International Airports. And we reduced poverty to the lowest in the history of our country at 9%, and established the regional health authorities, which improved the management of our healthcare system. We also established transformative legislation, which many of our women now take for granted, such as the Marriage Act, the Child Care and Protection Act, the Property Rights of Spouses Act, and the Domestic Violence Act. I've been an MP for 13 years.
Blessings, Sister Maria.
Greetings, Mystic Sensation. Anne-Marie, blessings, my dear. Blessings, and much, much love. Good to see you guys. I see you guys. Well, we can't give Andrew a break.
Well, I tell you something, Sister Maria. Right? I am going to give him a break Friday. Because the break, what I want to give him is for him to just listen to me and resign. I hope him take that break.
Well, he's too arrogant for that. And if he resigns, he's a bull in a china shop when it comes to spending taxpayers' dollars,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well,
and to everybody in the chat, a blessed Tuesday evening to all of you wonderful, nice, and decent people.
All right. Here you go. Tara, big up yourself. We see you. So, again, somehow today I am not in my right element, and I know that people can see that because I have to rush from work and really tired, but still have to do this because I know that persons are committed to the program, so I have to fulfill the task, but just not in my right element. But let us get into this. And this is how serious it is, Sister Maria. Okay, Sister Maria is blacked out where that is concerned. Now, people, right, let me just shake off some of the tiredness. And now, people, I heard Delroy Chuck, right, speaking as it relates to the Integrity Commission need to come out and reveal the illicit six because he needs some update on the illicit six. Now, let me say something to Delroy Chuck. Delroy Chuck, you need to understand that your Prime Minister, Delroy Chuck, utilize Section 53, subsection 3 to muzzle the Integrity Commission investigators. So you are not going to try to set up the investigators for the investigators to come and speak on the illicit six. So let me tell them that plain. So Integrity Commission investigators, just keep them out quiet. You understand? And I make Delroy Chuck drown out, right? Because Section 53, subsection 3 is there that him and his Prime Minister, right, pass in law to muzzle the Integrity Commission investigators' mouth, not to speak on an ongoing investigation. And this investigation is ongoing. So how you want the Integrity Commission to come and give you an update? You take Jamaican people for idiot, Chuck. Right? You take Jamaican people for idiot because you know that. You understand? You have Section 53, subsection 3, right? That you use to muzzle the Integrity Commission that they cannot speak during an investigation, and yet you are asking the Integrity Commission. So, people, I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this. So, there's the Maria. Let us play this, and when we finish, we can just do some dissecting on it. TikTok News 9. We are going to get into
Okay.
So, my ardent listeners, just look on how Delroy Chuck is disingenuous. Here is Delroy Chuck. Listen to this.
Chuck demands update on Integrity Commission's illicit six probe.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is calling on the Integrity Commission, IC, to provide an update on the status of its investigation into 6 parliamentarians who are suspected of illicit enrichment. Chuck is adamant that with the matter appearing to be lingering, it is not fair to parliamentarians in general. Everybody I see on the street asks me, are you one of the 6? It's not fair, Chairman. The IC, need to clear this thing up, the minister stated. Chuck, a member of Parliament's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee, made the demand during Thursday's sitting of that committee. The IC's 2022 to 2023 annual report indicated that 6 parliamentarians and 28 public officials are under investigation for illicit enrichment, which is said to be when an individual owns assets that are disproportionate to one's lawful earnings. Section 14(5)(a) of the Corruption Prevention Act states that failure to provide a satisfactory explanation for such assets can lead to prosecution. The term illicit 6 has dominated conversations on social media, and even featured on the political stage, with the opposition People's National Party, PNP, declaring that none of its members are under probe for illicit enrichment. On Thursday, Chuck seemingly expressed frustration about the delay in the probe by the IC. He said he did not know when the IC's next annual report will be presented to the committee, but it is about time an update be provided about the perceived 6 illicit enrichment of members and whether or not those 6 members, one or all 6, have been cleared up. He pointed to comments made by Craig Beresford, the IC's Director of Information and Complaints, at a previous committee meeting. When Mr. Craig Beresford was here, he said that the basis of the illicit enrichment was a mismatch between expenditure and income. To my mind, those members, whoever they are, if they can't clear it up, then we need some indication from the IC, Integrity Commission, what is being done, Chuck indicated. It is not the first time Chuck has made a call for the Commission to provide an update on its illicit enrichment investigations of the unknown parliamentarians. He made a call for the IC to do so in December of 2023, but there has been no update since then, and no such reports have been submitted to the Houses of Parliament. Representatives of the IC have been asked to be present at the next meeting of Parliament's IC Oversight Committee.
Okay, let me show the people why the Integrity Commission, right, cannot speak on the situation when it is an ongoing investigation. What Chuck needs to understand is that it is an ongoing investigation because the Prime Minister was asked to bring forth certain documentation, and according to the Prime Minister, right, that he is in the process of getting those documentation. From 2021, right, the Prime Minister cannot verify or clarify that. So this, Mr. Delroy Chuck, is an ongoing investigation. Now, so let us show why they cannot speak on it. Let us show the people what the gag order said. Why they cannot speak on it, because it's an ongoing investigation. Ongoing, Chuck. Ongoing. Just give us some minute. Okay, we got it. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Several of them have been Integrity Commission as the caption. So
all right. So 200.
Hold on.
Let us bring it up and show the people, right? Why you are so disingenuous, Mr. Chuck, right? So that the people can read it clearly. Position statement of the Integrity Commission of Jamaica regarding Section 53, subsection 3 of the Integrity Commission Act, the gag clause, submitted to the Integrity Commission Parliament Oversight Committee on November 24, 2021. You are part of who vote for this Chuck, and now you're coming out as a hypocrite. During the proceeding of the Integrity Commission Parliament Oversight Committee of October 14, 2021, certain issues concerning Section 53, subsection 3 of the Integrity Commission Act, ICA, were raised for discussion. Section 53, subsection 3 of the ICA provides as follows. So listen now, Delracho. Until the tabling in Parliament of a report under Section 36, all matters, Mr. Delracho, under investigation by the Director of Investigation or any other person involved in such investigation shall be kept confidential, and no report or public statement shall be made by the Commission or any other person in relation to the initiation or conduct of an investigation under this Act. The primary justification that has been advanced for imposing and retaining the Section 53, subsection 3 gag is that it prevents the Integrity Commission from injuring the reputation of public officials. I talk now on the Integrity Commission talk. So now come in with this clause, Section 53. See the Delracho. Delracho, you are one of them who vote for this clause. You are one of them who voted for this. All right, so take it away.
Yeah, you cannot believe anything that comes out of the mouth of any of the members of the Jamaica Labour Party government administration right now, because Delroy he's just grandstanding, because he knows that the IC members cannot say anything, and if they do, the same Delroy Chuck will now blame them and accuse them of violating their own conventions and violating the law, and then they can say, okay, well, what you're doing is null and void because you violated the law. You spoke with, about investigations when you shouldn't have spoken about the investigations. But here is the other side of it now, which is a double standard that the Jamaicans are facing. When they are investigating poor people, anybody that lives below halfway tree, their names are called, and they have to go through the process. They have to face their due process until they're treated as innocent until proven otherwise. And their names are called and they're paraded through in the media, and they do their perp walk and all of that. So what's the difference with government officials who are under investigation? Why not call their names? They don't have to tarnish their reputations in the process, but everybody should know who is being investigated. It happens in other countries, in other jurisdictions, where they're investigating parliamentarians, even presidents, and everybody knows that that person is under investigation. So exactly. Who is Andrew or his administration that they think that they're above having their names, paraded out there like everybody else? So the law really doesn't work for everybody. There are two laws. One for the rich and the politically relevant and business class, and another for anybody and everybody who lives below halfway tree, who are poor, live in the urban communities, and live in the countryside. You get the full extent of the law, but not anybody that lives above halfway tree or are part of the 1% of the Jamaican society that are wealthy and well-connected. So Delroy Chuck knows what he's doing. He's just baiting them. But they are professionals. They know what they're doing, so they're not taking the bait. It is sad. And you know what is sad too? Is that Delroy Chuck knows that he's basically talking down to the Jamaican people, because many cannot read and most don't read because they don't have the time to do so, because they're busy trying to make a life and a livelihood for themselves and their families. So they don't have the time to be reading and trying to dissect what Delroy Chuck is saying, given the way we're doing it right now and how other shows have been doing it with Lonesome, Rattigan, Jeffrey, Aromatic, Carlos, Hot Off of the Press, Andre, all of them, how they have been breaking it down and helping Jamaican people to understand things at a very minute level. Exactly. Simple, not because we're dumbing them down.
Okay, lose Sister Maria there just a while ago. So let me just jump
see,
in here.
Okay. They have to become an informed and an educated voter and not just vote blindly, because it's their lives that are being affected by whatever the administration does.
Yes. Now, and you know, I'm glad for your input, Sister Maria. Right on point. Right, everything that you have spoken about is so true. And this is what Delroy Chuck is doing, just throwing out red meat to his base, because obviously Delroy Chuck know that the Integrity Commission, right, cannot speak while, you understand, an investigation is ongoing. And here he is coming out in the public. I don't understand why the Integrity Commission don't update us on the illicit six. And everywhere I go, people is asking me what is the matter, what's up with the illicit six, and I'm tired of this and I'm tired of that. Well, him, Delroy Chuck, right, also voted, right, for the gag clause. Right? These persons are vicious and wicked and evil. Right?
But hypocrisy, but listen, Mystic, here's the hypocrisy of this man. Legislation that they need to put out into the public sphere to protect the Jamaican people, they are not putting out into the public sphere, because the legislation to dealing with pedophiles and making their knowns name, putting them on a public registry, that should be in the public space. But it is not, because he, according to him, it is like over punishment. What do you mean? How can you call something like that over punishment? So when you don't put that information out there in the public space, you are leaving those people to keep continuing their abuse of people. So he talks out of both sides of his mouth, and you cannot really believe anything that he says, because he's not serious. Remember, he's the one who's violating the Constitution. This man, he has nothing about it. Remember in 2015, he took Andrew Holness to court for violating the Constitution, because he said he used the undated resignation letters against Tufton, and he took him to court, and then he said, Andrew must resign because Andrew violated the Constitution. What is he doing now? So you see, you cannot really take Delroy Chuck serious about anything at all. And this is what we'd love for the Jamaican people to understand, that he doesn't care about you. He only cares about making sure you put him in office and keep him there so he can continue to punish the poor, because all the stiffer penalties and harsher penalties only affects poor people and poor people's children. It doesn't affect them at the top. And they're the greatest crime producers.
Yes. So true, Sister Maria. Megawatt said, but Byron, isn't the investigation completed? Okay, very good question, Megawatt. So let me explain this. As it relates to the integrity, because remember that I have an Integrity Commission summary report of certain investigation that was done. So let me just explain this now to people. Now, what has been done was the entire investigation relating to the time period of where the offense committed as it relates to Andrew Holness, right, and the investigation with the Integrity Commission between the period 2006 to 2009. Very good question, Megawatt asked. So I want to explain it so that people can understand. So between 2006 to 2009, Andrew Holness was investigated, right, as it relates to contracts that he had influenced to Gavin, right? Now, the Integrity Commission now get wind of the information via Zara Burton, 18 Degrees North, in 2016, right? And as a result of that, the information reached the complaints department, that the complainant department send it to the Integrity Commission investigators. They look into the matter. They start the investigation, right? I think 2021. June 9, 2016. Oh, let's start the investigation June 9, 2016 into Andrew Holness. Now, people, what people need to understand and why they are shubbing, why Dead Right Truck, right, is shubbing as it relates to the illicit fix. That investigation with Gavin, right, was investigated, right, and gathered, and that goes to the corruption prosecutor. The corruption prosecutor claimed that time limitation and that and a lot of things. Now, I have a copy of the detail of that report where you are going to surprise as it relates to certain things that establishing within that report. No, so that is one part of the report. Why the illicit six has not completed. It has not completed because look now. So that was Gavin's situation, time frame 2006 to 2009. That was one part. The next part of it now, right, is when Andrew Holness submitted his 2019 statutory declaration and what he declared the investigation, the Integrity Commission investigators, right, as it relates to information that they have and evidence that they have. What he declared is not matching up to what they have. Now let us ask the question. In the 2019 Statutory Declaration, was the Integrity Commission aware of Juliet Holness' $800 million apartment structure? No. It wasn't in the Statutory Declaration that was revealed in 2019 because the overall total of the Statutory Declaration as it relates to income, assets, and liability, the overall total of that is $171 million. So then now beg, as it relates to, right, the investigation continues. And what's being played out here is political strategy, right? And we are now, the Integrity Commission, right, is a situation, and this is one of the reasons why now the DPP, right, sitting there waiting. So it seems like the DPP, they use strategy, you understand, to delay stay in office, anticipating for that to crush it because you want it to surface, you understand, and then crush it. So then the Integrity Commission simply, you understand, being prudent, being smart, right, knowing that, okay, we had sent, you understand, the first time of the report as it relates to Gavin and the corruption prosecutor, crush it. And now the DPP has not inserted herself into the situation enough. Remember, I show you cases where in St. Kitts, where the DPP in St. Kitts never wait on the corruption prosecutor, you understand, to make a ruling, you know. The DPP in St. Kitts actually take over the case, you understand, and slap charges on those politicians in St. Kitts. So when you see the total comparison, the total contrast between St. Kitts DPP and Jamaica DPP, you see that St. Kitts DPP follow the law and executed the law the way how the law is supposed to execute. But Paula Llewellyn, now they use time limitation, you understand, and wanted to utilize that situation, right? And so then it is a cat and mouse game playing. So when you hear my name Dead Right Truck coming out, wanting the Integrity Commission, you understand, to come out and speak, you understand? No, an ongoing investigation is going on, right? Sister Maria, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, yes, and you know, when we keep talking about Andrew's statutory declarations and the inability to have them certified. One of them is 3 years, the other one is 2 years.
Yes.
And the reason is he once said that, he wants a cabinet of people with unquestioned integrity.
Oh, don't follow
What
that
about
there.
his integrity? And if he is asking a society that he is the head of to be respectful of the rule of law and to conduct themselves at a higher standard, why has he not set that standard for himself? And if this was the opposition leader, Andrew Holness would be out there beating pot and calling him out, as he should, if that was the case.
Exactly.
And he would be out there beating pot and knocking drum and calling his name, and he would be labeling him as corrupt and unfit for office. Why has that not applied to him?
Exactly.
Why has that not applied to his administration as well? So he has not held himself to the standard that he talks about or he's expecting of other people. And that is rather unfortunate. So we're saying to the Jamaican people, you need to make sure you vote for a leader with unquestioned integrity and people who will not come in to steal the taxpayers' dollars, because when they steal the taxpayers' dollars, you are the ones suffering because your hospitals don't get fixed, your education system is broken, teachers cannot get paid proper salary. And it's, to stop it, when you stop and think about an administration that gave themselves over 200% increase and gave the backbone of the society, the teachers, the policemen, the civil servants, the public servants, gave them 20%. Why did they not give themselves the same 20% as the teachers and the nurses and the lawyers? I mean, the policemen and the firemen. They should have given themselves that same kind of salary increase. And then we wouldn't be talking about how unfair they are and how unfair the system that they have created is. So they have made it that they can live well while the teachers can barely go to school and teach the children. So is it any wonder why the education system is operating as it is right now? Is it any wonder why teachers are running away trying to find a better way of life for themselves and their families? They have set the tone, and they're the ones who are responsible for the current state of affairs because they are the government. And I don't want to hear anything about 18 years of PNP. No, you are the government. What are you doing right now? See, if they saw many things that were wrong, why haven't they fixed them since they feel that way? They should have fixed them by now. And because they haven't fixed them now, we have to talk about them. And we're going to talk about them like a dog until they fix it. But the system is not working. The administration is too corrupt. And what is sad, Mystic Sensation, is there's not one person in the Jamaica Labour Party who stands up and says, something, I won't be a part of this. Nobody to hold him accountable and call him out on the nonsense and call him out on his BS and say, no, we have a country of people who we must protect. We are there to serve them, not serve ourselves. Everybody is busy fooling them crawl, as the counselor from Barbican said. And it is rather unfortunate. And you have to just feel for the Jamaican people.
Exactly. Right. And this is and this is the thing, right? As it relates to, this sort of unfairness. Now, what's this brute force business here now? Put up this.
Okay.
The sort of bullyism that they are trying, right, to even silence the Integrity Commission, right, by even getting physical. So I want to remind people, as it relates to where this is going, right, and that's why sometimes people will wonder in terms of if the Integrity Commission investigators are getting a little bit scared. Now, let us remind people what had transpired here with this situation. Yes. So let us just remind people as it relates to what transpired here.
At about 10:43 a.m., right at the New Kingston corporate car park, number 1, the complainant, Mr. Ryan Evans, he's also the director of corruption prevention at the Integrity Commission, was in the car park. Whilst he exited the car park, he was pounced upon by at least 2 men who rode up on a motorcycle. The pillion proceeded to come off the motorcycle and attacked him. He pulled a firearm, and a struggle took place between the complainant and the pillion. During the struggle, a black briefcase seemed to have been the subject of his curiosity. A struggle developed between himself and the complainant for that briefcase, and during the struggle, the complainant was shot. The pillion seemed to have left with the briefcase. The complainant himself was he drove himself to the hospital where he's currently being treated. As far as we know at this point, robbery seems to have been the main motive. We are uncertain of what else took place, but it's early days in the investigation. As the investigation develops, we'll provide you with additional information. But the complainant is stable at this time.
Any ideas to what in the briefcase?
We can't say at this time.
Yeah. At a time when we know the work of investigation, we know what they do. Is there any motive?
I can appreciate where your mind is going, but at this stage, we have no information that will connect both instances at this time. We're treating it as a robbery and watch the investigation as it develops. It is a consideration, but as it is right now, not as yet. But we are assisting the staff and we are assisting the complainant as it relates to this robbery.
No. Sister Maria, what I want to ask, right, as it relates to the Integrity Commission office, right, and knowing the type of work that the Integrity Commission investigators are doing, right, and for a so-called robber, right, want to just go there and just rob blindly, right? When I look at that, it seems like it is to instill fear. It seems like Maria frozen. A situation like that, as it relates to attack on one of the investigators, as it relates to the Integrity Commission investigators, right, and where his suitcase has been taken away, his briefcase has been taken away, right? Now, when I look at that, Sister Maria, that to me seems like there was a message sent. I don't know, right? In terms of how I am perceiving it, that, okay, all right, this is a clear message that has been sent, right? What say you on the matter, Sister Maria? Oh, she's going in and out. Can you close that in?
Exactly, because here's the thing. Remember, there was an oversight committee meeting a few months, I think, or weeks prior to that incident.
Yes.
When Warmington was in Parliament, and what's his name? The tourism minister Bartlett, he's the chairman for the oversight committee, and they were in Parliament. And Warmington brought up the issue of Chris Evans, who was an advisor to Peter Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up that he applied for a job in the government and he did not get it. And he basically labeled him as a political operative, something. And I'm thinking to myself, if he's qualified for the job, him being an advisor to Peter Phillips has nothing to do with his qualifications. He's qualified for whatever position he applied for. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, why Chris Evans? Why his briefcase? What were they looking for in his briefcase? And if we a few months later, after that, we can also talk about the SSL situation where they broke into the quote unquote.
Okay.
See, you cannot believe anything they say. You cannot take anything they say seriously. You have to take it with a grain of salt, because they're not forthcoming. The truth is not forthcoming from these people, and everything they do is shady and underhanded. So no, we don't believe anything they're saying. I only feel for Mr. Evans, who had to suffer that fate. And I'm happy that he has recovered and it wasn't fatal, you know,
Exactly.
and think about his family and think about how he must have felt. But I think they were sending a message to the Integrity Commission.
Exactly. That's what that's what I feel.
Yeah, and you have to look at the people and the rhetoric that comes from the administration as it relates to the Integrity Commission. Because Warmington has a history of attacking them and coming out, you know, forcefully against them when they're the ones, though it was crafted by Mark, the legislation was drafted by Mark Golding when he was Justice Minister, it was implemented by Andrew Holness. So how can you implement something that you're not abiding by, and then every step of the way you're criticizing it and you want to dismantle it and destroy it and not fund it because it is not working in your favor? So we have to look at the players and the things that come out of their mouths. I'm not saying that Warmington is directly involved, but listen to his rhetoric, and his rhetoric can incite people. The rhetoric that comes from them can incite crazy people. So they have to be mindful of the things that they say, especially in that kind of climate and political climate in Jamaica, because it can be dangerous. And remember, we have been down that road before.
Yes.
We have been down that road, and there's no need to go back down that road.
Exactly. All right. Well said, Sister Maria. Let us get into Mr. Bossy. Sister Maria, you know who is Mr. Bossy with a fling red card all over the place. All of a sudden into an umpire. So, Sister Maria, let us get into Mr. Bossy business. Because Mr. Bossy all over the place. You understand? Flinging red card. Right? And here you have a serious budget shortfall, and I'm wondering if Jamaica have an understanding of what to come. Now, it's very serious, Jamaica, that what to come as it relates to the budget shortfall, right? And let me say it in the layman terms. Some programs that were promised, right? Don't bother look for them. Don't bother look for them anytime soon, as it relates to the budget shortfall. And when you have someone just, you know, promising this, promising that, and they don't know where how it's going to be funded, right? That's a problem. And then upon top of that, what he had done, right, is to cut, right, certain taxes, right, to please his elite friends. So we are going to go through some situation with Nigel Clark and show how Nigel Clark is damaging Jamaica economy. Now,
but Mystic, you know, you touched on a very good point, and that's what we need the Jamaican people to understand.
yes,
He cut taxes for the people who can afford to feed themselves and feed their families.
exactly.
And the people who can least afford to feed themselves and feed their families don't get any reprieve. They have to still feel the brunt of the economic hardships that come with that, because there's no such thing as trickle-down economics. It doesn't work. It has never worked, and it doesn't work. If it didn't work in America, why would it work in Jamaica? There's no such thing. It doesn't work. It doesn't exist. It's a figment of somebody's imagination. It sounds good,
Exactly.
but it doesn't work. So
Okay.
this is of imported horses. Who are these horses for? The people who can afford it. So if they can afford to import horses, don't you think they can afford to pay the taxes for the importation of those horses? So they do these things and then come out and talk about no new taxes. But when regular people go to the store, they're paying more for bread, more at the gas pump, more for everything, more on their light bill, more on their water rate. So yes, there's an increase everywhere you look. And it doesn't mean that every administration doesn't face that problem. Yes, every administration faces that problem. But when you lie about the realities that people are facing, you're basically saying, don't believe your lying eyes.
Yes.
But you cannot cushion the rich and pressure the poor, because that's basically what the administration has been doing.
That's exactly what Nigel Clark is doing. as you said, Sister Maria, right? Cushion the rich and exposing the poor as it relates to suppressing them, right? And they have to face high inflation and so forth. So without any delay, let us hear how Nigel Clark is mastering his budget. And I want to explain between the 2022 into the 2023 budget, right? The 2023 into the 2024 and the 2024 into the 2025, right? To just show a link as it relates to those three connectors as it relates to the budget, right? Throughout the years, where Nigel Clark, right, had done a lot of madness as it relates to appeasing, right, the elites, right, and suffering our Jamaican people. So then let us play this clip as it relates to the one that I put up, the lady. Yes. Let us hear Nigel Clark explaining as it relates to his mastery.
Because it's been a marathon day and few weeks.
Yes, it always is. You know, you have to prepare the budget presentation, and then, you know, the finance minister is the only person who speaks twice. I have to speak again. And in speaking again, I have to, you know, summarize, but at the same time respond to comments, claims, suggestions that have been made. So it takes a toll.
How do you do it? Because I was thinking, you spoke for 4.5 hours the first time. The PM spoke for 5 hours. I know when I give presentations, my voice goes out after 2 hours. And you maintain the energy, like how?
You know, if I think about it, it's I can't explain it myself. If I really kind of think about it. But, you know, it's just passion. I'm very passionate about Jamaica. I've always been from I've been a child, and I believe fervently that Jamaica is a country of destiny, and we have been underperforming for, you know, 50 years, all of my lifetime. And I'm just passionate about the opportunity to, you know, take our country forward in a direction, or help to take our country forward in a way that we haven't had the opportunity before. So it's that passion that keeps me going, and, you know, we're getting results at the same time. And so, you know, the results are self-reinforcing, if you understand what I mean. They propel you forward. So, you know, it's like you're prepared to, you know, take the obstacle course, the energy that's required, the beat up, the criticism, sometimes unfairly, because you are convinced that, you know, you're doing something and making a contribution that needs to be made.
So I sure have some questions for you, but tonight I really want it to be about the viewers and hearing feedback from the public. What questions do you guys, our viewers, still have for Minister Clark, having heard his opening debate, his closing debate, and all the debates in between, the PM, the opposition leader, the finance spokesperson on opposition? Put your comments in the chat. We'd love to hear what your questions are. But while they get theirs together, I'm going to start the ball rolling. One of my questions, Dr. Clark, was on the issue of the securitization of receivables, because everybody always asks, okay, you're going to do all this stuff. How are you going to pay for it? You made this announcement that there's going to be what we call securitization of receivables. Basically, the government is selling $45 billion of receivables in order to offset expenses in the budget. But then the opposition leader pointed out that you said it was market sensitive, so you couldn't reveal what it was. What can you tell us at this point?
Well, so Kalila, there is nothing abnormal about that. The budget consists of $300 billion of market financing, right? Of loan financing. We are not required, nor do we specify exactly how we're going to do that, because that would be market sensitive information. So we don't come out and say we're going to issue a bond of 10 years duration in June. or nor do we say we're going to issue a J dollar instrument internationally or issue a J dollars of this. No, we just put forward that we're going to finance the budget by raising, I'm sorry, the number this year is $200 billion in new financing. We're paying off $300 billion of maturing debt, and we are engaged in borrowing of $200 billion of new debt. So we don't provide, particulars on that, because to provide particulars on the debt that we'll be issuing would influence what is possible. And we don't want to do that. That's not in the public's interest. And similarly, what I described as the sale of receivables is non-recourse financing, meaning that it's financing that the government of Jamaica, it's not debt, the government of Jamaica doesn't have to pay it back. But to say any more at this point could jeopardize the transaction. So it's not in the public interest to do so. At the right time, I will provide complete details, and I'll be back on your program if you invite me to provide details on that transaction. But to do so in advance would be to put the transaction at risk, and nobody wants that to happen.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that.
So that means that it hasn't been, so you don't have a buyer yet. It's just a plan to sell the receivables at this point.
No, we have market testing, and we have So I don't want to say too much on it, Kalila. Let me at the right time, which hopefully won't be. We have 12 months, right? But at the right time, which hopefully won't be too long. I'll be back on your program, and like I always do, I'll provide all the information at a time that I'm able to do it. I'm just not able to do it now because it would affect the very transaction that we want to see happen. And again, I gave you the parallel with loan financing that we have put out, that we're going to be borrowing $200 billion issuing $200 billion of new debt this year and paying off $300 billion of maturing debt. But we are not providing any particulars about the tenure of that debt, the rates that we are going to be seeking, the currencies, when we're going to do it, or anything like that, because that would undermine the very transactions. So my posture here is very consistent. And I know that you want to know more, but I commit to you that once you make the invitation, I'll be back on your program to discuss that transaction when I'm in a position to do so.
Well, I'll definitely be making that invitation. I see some questions starting to come in from the audience. Okay, so let's take the first one from our audience. Javon wants you to shed some light on the unemployment. Well, he has two questions, and it's two long questions. Unemployment insurance, tax credit. Let's take them one at a time. So unemployment insurance.
I am inspired by the interest in unemployment insurance. It's nice to work on a juicy piece of policy and to find that the public is interested in that policy. Unemployment insurance, I don't know what direction the questioner wants me to go, but let me just say that unemployment insurance has been a reality for other Caribbean countries for decades, Bahamas and Barbados. Jamaica started the national insurance scheme in the 1960s, and in that debate, when you look at it, the intention was to do unemployment insurance next, but history took over, so to speak. The unemployment insurance scheme is a contributory scheme in the worst case, and will provide an unemployment benefit that is linked to the person's prior earnings. So I give an example of Barbados and Bahamas to make the point. In Barbados, a person who is newly unemployed will receive 60% of their previous weekly earnings for 26 weeks, that is 6 months. In Bahamas, the person who is newly unemployed will receive 50% of their previous weekly earnings for 13 weeks, which is 3 months. Jamaica will have to choose the parameters that make sense for us. The cost from our feasibility study is about 0.8% to 1.5% of payroll if we simply slap it on as an additional deduction. We would ideally not like to do that. What we prefer to do is to consolidate existing deductions into a single social statutory tax, or whatever we decide to call it. And then the funds would be remitted by legislation to the respective agencies, NHT, NIS, HART, etc. And if we
You
do
know,
it
I
that
saw
way,
some people commenting on that point where you said that you want to consolidate all the deductions into one deduction. Some people were saying that's how you hide things. They want to be able to see exactly where their money is going.
well, there are two sides to the story. The first side is that it introduces a lot of complexity. We have 4 deductions already. To add a 5th one would mean that, especially for small businesses, for your business, Khalila, I mean, for businesses that employ fewer than 20 people or fewer than 10 people, the complexity is just not worth it. And what you'll find is that people with addition of another statutory deduction, the incentive for informality will grow. So by legislation, it would be clear that a certain amount must go to the respective entities, that law has to be observed. And what if we do it that way? The advantages that by removing sort of thresholds and streamlining, we could be in a position to introduce unemployment insurance in a way that, for 90 to 95% of persons, it's not an additional, there's no more to be deducted. And that's what you call efficiency and productivity. One of the things, Khalila, that people don't sort of fully recognize up front is that for the 4 different statutory deductions that we have completely different regimes for each of them. They differ in the segment of employment income that is open to taxation, right, or open to deduction. Some of them have exemptions before you can deduct. Then they have different thresholds. So you need a computer program, literally, to work out today.
Tell me about it. Today is the 26th. So yesterday I had payroll. Yesterday I had payroll to do, and for the first time I had to do it myself. I was trying to figure. I literally have the tab open here, trying to figure out. Okay, so education is 3% for employer and 2.25 employee, and then this one is that, and they're all different.
It's not only different. Not only the rates are different, but the threshold that it applies to, they differ from each of them, right? Some of them are up to this amount, some of them are up to that amount, and some of them exempt certain income from the deduction.
This is an essential message for Canadians over 50. During our working years, the government supports us.
So literally, to do it properly, you need a computer program. I mean, so what we want to do is to simplify the system. And that we have found that when you simplify the system, formality improves. When we got rid of the minimum business tax and the asset tax for non-financial businesses, company registrations went through the roof, and they continue to set new records. So it's from that experience that what we want to do ideally is to consolidate the social taxes. One tax. You have income tax above the threshold of 25%, and you have another one above another threshold at 30%, and then you have one statutory deduction of X%. Simple. That will put small business or micro business on even playing field with large businesses. For large businesses, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference because they have the people, they have the administration, they have the staff, they have the enterprise systems. They can afford SAP and all these complicated systems. They can deal with the complexity. But if we want Jamaica to grow and prosper, we need it to be easy for micro businesses to simply to be compliant. And that would be the motivation behind that. But it's very.
So, Sister Maria, you see why we have a budget shortfall as it relates to the complexness of his situation. The complexity of his situation in terms of dealing with those taxes, consolidating all those taxes and so forth and so forth. Try to bundle everything. You understand where? I mean, it is unfair to people if you try to do that. People want to see the individual taxes going to this and no, say, well, all right. Like for argument's sake, $15 go to this, $10 go to that, and $13. People want to understand it. So you understand, you consolidate everything and bungle up everything, and then you understand different threshold. It's just to complicate, you understand, people in the entire process. But one of the things that he mentioned, Sister Maria, 45 billions of receivables. Let us talk about that, because that is now the government is planning to sell some of Jamaican assets. Right? 45 billion of receivables. And as according to him, right, it doesn't work the people of Jamaica knowing about it, because it might affect the prospect in terms of whatever he's trying to do, get through on a positive note, as according to him. No, look, if you are going to sell Jamaican assets, why Jamaicans who are paying tax dollars? Why we don't need to know? What are the receivables that they are planning to sell?
But I'm listening to Nigel Clark. You know this song that comes to mind. You're familiar with Prince Buster, right? He said, "Madness, madness, madness." They call it madness. That song by Prince Buster. That's it. Nigel Clark reminds me of that, because all he's saying doesn't translate to, can people afford to buy bread tomorrow morning? Can people afford to send their children to school? Exactly. Can they afford a proper meal for their children? That's what. Can they afford to pay their bills? So everything is madness. Is talking about Barbados. He cannot equate himself with Barbados. Barbados economy is doing way better than the Jamaican economy. Their GDP is way better than Jamaica's GDP. So he cannot compare Jamaica's situation with Barbados. And this is the Minister of Algorithms and Granularity. And like I said before, they are not speaking the language of the Jamaican people. They are speaking to an audience of one, which is Andrew Holness. And if it sounds good to Andrew Holness, then they get to keep their jobs. But they're not speaking to an audience they're not speaking to the Jamaican people, because they do not understand.
Sister Maria get cut there.
The Jamaican economy facilitate unemployment insurance. Can the business community in Jamaica facilitate unemployment insurance? I don't think they can, because it is a structure that works in first world countries for a reason. Jamaica does not have the infrastructure to facilitate that, and business people are going to, the employee might be excited to hear, okay, I can go to work, I can just start working today, and tomorrow call in sick, and next week I'm collecting unemployment insurance. Is that what they're putting forward out there? Because the micro business that he's talking about cannot afford it. Grace Kennedy might be able to afford it. Musson Group might be able to afford it. Dennis and Geddes might be able to afford it. But you cannot put micro business with macro businesses. Because if in his mind, micro business is the man who, the squeegee man and the informal commercial importers, the higglers downtown or in the market, they cannot afford that kind of unemployment insurance. I don't know who he's targeting, but he's certainly not targeting micro businesses. Big businesses I can understand, because they can absorb those costs, but micro businesses cannot absorb those costs. And so it sounds pretty, it sounds intelligent, but it's not practical. It sounds good in theory, but the practicality of it is far from sober. You just can't.
And apart from that, Sister Maria, sorry, Honey, you saying something?
Okay, for the employment insurance, you must remember that it's the employee who is going to have to pay into that insurance. So that's going to be an additional deduction. So it's not like it's a company that's going to be paying it, because I pay employment insurance. So it's the employee going to have to pool their money into it in order for them to be paid when they are out of a job. It's not like the government is going to pick up the tab or the company is going to pick up the tab. You are going to have that deduction taken from your salary.
Exactly. So let us show how Mr. Nigel Clark has been applauded as a result of the wonderful budget presentation. And then, right, we learned about the shortfall, right, after this such excellent performance as his co-worker claim that this is the best budget, Nigel, the best budget as ever presented by Nigel Clark. This one.
Okay, 1 second. Don't tell me.
Right. So this is before we learn of the budget shortfall. And this is, listen, this man.
I have to share it.
So look how he applauded Nigel Clark. People just want people to hear the applaud, the grand applaud that Nigel Clark, right, has gotten as it relates to the budget presentation
that I've listened to has been one of the best budgets presentations that I've heard for a very long time.
All
When
right.
a country is growing, it is usually demonstrated by what is given back to the working class. This is a budget that has made provisions in giving back to the working class. President, the government's role in fostering successive growth in the economy, creating employment opportunities, attracting investment, and providing reasonable increases to public servants cannot be understated. Firstly, successive growth in the economy is the result of prudent fiscal policies, strategic investment in infrastructure, and targeted economic reforms. This government, led by the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, has worked diligently to create an environment conducive to business growth and innovation, thereby attracting both domestic and foreign investment. Mr. President,
So, Sister Maria, you realize that the Jamaica Labour Party government had worked diligently, right, to create a budget shortfall. All right, let us get into it because he was applauded for his presentation, and yet all of what he had promised, right, cannot be fulfilled. And here he is, right, after that grand pronouncement, and his friend, right, backing him that it is the best budget presentation. So, Sister Maria, you said the best budget presentation, now experiencing a budget shortfall, right? Okay, so let us get into it. No, Jamaica Pete. I'm not concerned about it.
Okay.
Now here it is, people. After we heard all of those kind words meeting out to Nigel Clark as it relates to the best budget presentation ever. Now, May 3rd, 2024, Mr. Clark concerned about revenue shortfall misplaced. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says concern about the revenue shortfall in March 2024 are misplaced. Clark, who was responding to several questions raised about the development, including from senior economist Dr. Peter John Garden, said by definition, there would always be either underperformance or overperformance. He said, how underperformance is dealt with when it occurs is what matters. We are dealing with this transparently, with prompt disclosure, and by being available to provide an account of the details. There is still work to be done to fully estimate the residual impact of March 24 revenue outcomes, Clark told the Gleaner yesterday. However, in the scenario that revenues have to be adjusted downwards, Jamaica should be assured that the government of Jamaica has the flexibility to tap into untapped revenues possibilities without placing an extra burden on taxpayers, right? And to adjust. This is basically a lie that he's telling, right? Expenditures while maintaining the commitment to the government priority program and policies and to legislate targets he added. He has to cut programs as a result of the budget shortfall. So it's lying right here. It's coming follows question raised by Gordon, senior lecturer at the University of West Indies, about the basis on which the Jamaican government expected to meet its revenue target for the financial year, which ended in March with an announcement of no new taxes. Further, Gordon had questioned what the underlying assumptions were that would lead to an expectation of increase by almost 130% of the increase in taxes revenues from one year to the next, especially in light of there being no new taxes. Clear lie. However, Clark said tax revenues increased by 136.5 billion in 2022 to 23, over 2021 to 22, and not 45 billion as had been stated by Gordon. So which one of them? Obviously, Clark is lying. The minister said tax revenues were expected to increase by 103.5 billion in 2023 to 2024. He said that as such, the increase in expected tax revenues in 2023-24 was 24% less than the increase of tax revenues in 2022-21 and not 130% more as said by Gordon. Clear lie. Additionally, pointing back to the tax revenue increasing in 2022 to 23 over 2021 to 22, which was 136 billion. Clark said the projection for 2023 to 2024 over 22 to 2023 was at 103 billion, right? A lower figure. For the first 11 months of 2023 to 24, we were on track to surpass this, he said. He noted that the consolidated tax revenues for the 11 months up to the end of February 24 were ahead of budget by approximately 7 billion, emphasizing that the underperformance was concentrated in March 2024. Let us see what happened here in March 24. Even after factoring the underperformance of tax revenues in March 2024, for the full year 2023-24, total revenues came in under budget by 2.4% in 2023 to 2024, and the government ended the year with a fiscal surplus of 1 billion. The minister said, it should be noted that Jamaica has only recorded a fiscal surplus 6 times over the past 10 years. Meanwhile, Clark said the government is ahead of its target to achieve debt GDP ratio of 60%, right? March 28. The debt to GDP ratio was 72% as March 2024 and is projected to be in the mid-60s by March 2025. So the debt per GDP rate of 72% is extremely high. So take that away. Okay, so Maria, fill up.
Oh, there she's back.
Oh.
Sorry.
So
That's good.
all right. So Sister Maria, right? You know that most of what had been promised, right, is not going to be delivered.
You know what I'm thinking about? The three sister market, as we call it, the three sister market that they plan to build in, I think it was in Buffalo. Because remember, when he was on the campaign trail, he said he's going to build a $1 billion 3-story market, right? So that's the first thing that came to my mind. What's going to happen to that three sister market that he plans to build, and making Clarkstown a city?
Exactly.
Building a new hospital in Spanish Town.
Yes.
Building a park in Portmore. All those fancy programs now, what's going to happen to them? While the people are asking for better schools and better hospitals and better roads, he's worried about some fancy projects that he knows is not going to happen.
Yes.
But you know, this government talks about how, okay, the minister said there's a shortfall. When the economist, Dr. Gordon, came out and broke it down, he said, no, there's no shortfall. So he has to make up his mind what it is. It's either there's a shortfall. And then after Dr. Gordon said, there was a shortfall by 2.4%. So there was a shortfall. So he cannot be speaking the same thing, saying the same thing in many different ways, failing to realize that the Jamaican people need to understand things at a just simplified for them. There is a shortfall. How is it going to affect them on the ground? That's what we need to know. That's what they need to know.
Yes.
Because it is going to affect them on the ground. It is going to affect them on the ground.
But as it relates to what Christine Gilbert said, that the shortfall doesn't just pop up. One which Christine is right, because all of those. All right, if you look, Sister Maria, all right, in terms of some of the things that may have you know, intertwined into terms of causing the shortfall, right? And you know, of course, the government losing revenues as it relates to the when you look at the income tax threshold, move to 1.7 from 1.5. Again, the government lose revenues there, right? Because what automatically happens is that a lot of people is going to escape that tax net, right? Because it now expand from 1.5 to 1.7. When it was at 1.5, and these are the mistakes that they are doing, and Mark Golden is asking them, right, how are they going to be able to fund it, right? So then, okay, to gain that sort of political mileage and doing all of that, right, saying that you are doing things, you lift the income tax threshold from 1.5 to 1.7. So then, of course, the country lose revenues. But I'm going to show you something too. Look at this. I am going to show you again what affect the country's revenues. Let us go into this. I just want to show the people certain things. What helped to cause all those shortfalls? It's not here. All right, let us, okay, so it is coming up. Let us show people some of what causing the shortfall. And look at these decision making. Now,
The share.
Share?
I just brought it up, so to share. Here,
All right.
hold on. Okay.
This is one of Nigel Clark's serious error. Look at this, Sister Maria. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, has indicated that Jamaica collected $2 billion from the backside levy in the late 2021. Clark, who was responding to questions raised by the opposition spokesman on mining Philip Palwell in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, suggested that the figure may have been missed as a line item in the government revenue package. According to Clark, the levy payments were due to the efforts of the former Minister of Mining, Robert Montague, who was removed from the ministry in the recent cabinet shuffle. It was due to good work of that former minister that we collected $2 billion in bauxite levy in the last few months, Clark said. So I want to go back over and read and make people hear what Nigel Clark said here. You know. According to Clark, the levy payments were due to the efforts of the former Minister of Mining, Robert Montague, who was removed from the ministry in the recent cabinet shuffle. it was due to the good work of that former minister that we collected 2 billion in bauxite levy in the last few months, Clark said. Montague is now in the Ministry of Economic and Growth and Job Creation, said that the finance minister would not have been familiar with the details of the payments while answering the question in the House. He explained that 2 billion included 13.7 million paid by the UC Russell in December, and that an asset usage fee debt of 3.4 million owed to Jamaica bauxite mines by New Day Naranda Bauxite has been paid in full by Concord Resources Limited. UC Russell operates from Uaton Works, Swellenberg, Port Esquivel, and Kirkvine. Concord Resources Limited, which is headquartered in London, acquired 49% shares of New Day Aluminum in Jamaica in July 2021. Now, the former mining minister said that in addition, the 2 billion US Russell agreed to pay off the backlog over the next 30 months, while giving an undertaking to keep current levy payments up to date. Well, I need to tell Jamaica that, right? They weren't collecting the levy. And as a matter of fact, right? Clark went further than that and created further destruction. Let's take this away. Let me point out something here. So, Sister Murray, now, as it relates to the bauxite levy, right? And we were collecting 2 billion Jamaican dollars. 2 billion in revenue. 2 billion in revenue, you know, from the bauxite levy. Right? That going into the Jamaican coffers. 2 billion. And 2 billion can do a lot of things. But the next move what Clark had done, right, was to do what? Remove the bauxite levy. Look at this now, Marion. Look at this. Yes. Google bauxite levy. Which one you want? Save jobs. Yeah. Now let me show the people what Clark had done to Jamaica economy, mashing up Jamaica economy. Look at this. Now we used to collect $2 billion, right, off a bauxite levy. Now, here it is, people. The government has agreed to provide Windalco with a 2-year relief from the payment of the bauxite production levy, which will save the jobs of hundreds of Jamaicans. Now, the reason why they do this was to remove the bauxite levy and so that who own truck, like as the rumor of it, as it relates to some green trucks, they get haulage, right, to make all of that money for themselves. So Nigel Clark created this policy and removed the levy. Stop for the Jamaican people. Jamaica will forego an estimated $10 million US in levy payment from the company over the period. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Honorable Nigel Clark, made the announcement during a statement to the House of Representatives on July 19. He said the waiver is about jobs and foreign exchange. No, just imagine, right? You know, pass policies to avoid them, to create waiver, to avoid them to pay the levy. You understand? To save jobs, to save what kind of jobs? No, without a waiver, the plant would close. Relatively high-paying jobs, barely yet, so Nigel Clark. Without a waiver, the plant would close. Relatively high-paying jobs will be lost, and growth will take a hit, he noted. Right? Well, we are taking it now, and Michael Manley did not do that. Michael Manley increased the levy, and you remove the levy. Dr. Clark told the House that Windalco employs 600 persons.
You have to always go back to something that Michael Manley did.
Exactly.
That made a difference, and how the Jamaica Labour Party, through many administrations,
right,
ruined, destroyed it, and did not put anything in its place. Because when the reason Michael Manley had to increase to take a majority ownership of the bauxite is that Jamaica was not getting any money from bauxite, you know.
Exactly.
So when he imposed a levy and said, you know what, I must owe as the owner of this country, as the owner and leader of this country, I must own more than you.
Yes. Right.
It went into education, it went into healthcare, it went into roads, it went into social programs. That's why so many people were able to go to school up to tertiary level for free.
Yes.
And that's why people had healthcare for free. You understand? So
exactly.
Now you have a system where you're not. How much money are these bauxite companies making? Billions of dollars. And you are going to remove that the $10 million that they're paying you, which is meager compared to, in my opinion. They should be paying more. And you are that $10 million you are going to, for 2 years. Do you know what that 10 million US dollars could be doing right now for the Jamaican people? How much money? Talk about saving jobs. What jobs? How much money are these people being paid on a weekly basis? So the company is making money, not putting back the money into the economy. And he's saying to them, these multi-billion-dollar companies, he's saying to them, it's okay, we will take a hit. And these aluminum companies are owned in multinational, it's a multinational corporation that owns these aluminum companies.
Exactly.
And you, as a smaller third world country, is saying to these multinational, multi-billionaire companies, it's okay, we are going to give you $10 million. Our workers, pay them pittance, but you take the bulk of it and go your way. It really makes no sense. So they're not doing anything to benefit the Jamaican people. They're doing it to benefit them, their friends and themselves. And who owns the truck that are hauling bauxite? If it is owned, as the rumor has it, that it is owned by a member of parliament, then that's problematic. That is problematic. So I don't see how you can give up the very thing. It's their resources. Bauxite is Jamaica's natural resources. Why would you not want to get everything that you can get from it to build the economy? So I don't understand him giving up the bauxite levy. He's getting $0. How is it going to help the people?
Exactly. Right? So how that is going to benefit us? How is that going to? But Nigel Clark went further than that. Right? Right? All of these madness, right, contribute into, right, what we have now, the budget chart. Look at this now as it relates to another thing that Nigel Clark had done. Right? Look at this next thing, what they had done. What's Nigel Clark again, Sister Maria? GCT to be removed from imported raw foodstuff. The government is removing the general consumption tax, right? GCT charge on imported raw foodstuff, such as fruits and vegetables, in a bid to avoid trade sanctions. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has announced, right? So let us argue about that, Sister Maria. Take that away.
Now, we have to rubbish that immediately. We have to rubbish that immediately, because what he has done, he has put the small farmers in Jamaica at a disadvantage. Definitely. And I'm 100% sure, that's why you have negotiations. I'm 100% sure the World Trade Organization wasn't going to sanction him for making sure that Jamaican farmers are able to sell their produce. That makes no sense. So he's using that as an excuse to make sure that whoever owns the companies that are bringing in the fruits and the vegetables from overseas, that they make money, because it's their friends and relatives who own these companies. So it is not about protecting, preventing themselves from being sanctioned. That's rubbish.
That's rubbish.
That's rubbish. It's protecting a few people at the expense of the many. Because when he does that, what happened to the fruit farmers in Jamaica? What happened to the orange farmers? the Otaheite apple farmers. We're not talking about, because Otaheite apples are one of the best apples that you'll ever have.
Exactly.
Right? So what about the vegetables from St. Elizabeth? And not, because various parishes produce various things. So when you bring in all of that stuff now, what happened to small farmers? They have no market for their produce, so they're going to dump their stuff. And on top of that, on top of removing the GCT, it makes it cheaper. So the small farmers have no they cannot survive because they cannot go up against the cheaper imported good that is coming in. Not that it is better. The quality is not necessarily better because it is mass production. Who knows if it is GMO, genetically modified food that is coming in. And so their organic food that would go to, they could go to the market and sell is undersold because they don't have the markets for it. So they are now having to compete with imported foods, and they're planting their own stuff. So how can they say they care about the farmers? They do not care about the farmers. And they should not be blaming the World Trade Organization for this. They should blame themselves for not thinking this through to a logical conclusion and making sure that the local farmers are always protected and always have markets. As a matter of fact, they should be seeking markets for local farmers to be selling their produce. You see, so they're really putting small farmers at risk. So sooner rather than later, there won't be any small farmers if somebody don't come in and make agriculture a serious export for Jamaican farmers. Because there was a point when farming was key to the Jamaican economy. It's not anymore because you had the banana industry, you have the sugarcane industry, you had oranges, you had ackee, you had all those factories. So if you are bringing in imported stuff, how can you have factories?
Exactly. That is it. Right? So, and in extension, right, you're damaging our agricultural sector as well. Now, when you look at this, right, the next move that Nigel Clark made was to remove taxes from horses, imported horses. All these things are Jamaica losing revenues. Right? Jamaica losing revenues. Right? And again, finally, but put a dent in the whole thing now, Maria, is the big salary increase that the government took. Right? And when you look, I mean, how are they care for Jamaican people, right? All of that is damaging the economy, right? Because our economy just cannot sustain that.
That is what they fail to realize, because you look at some other countries that are struggling, and I think it was Burkina Faso.
Yes.
Where the leader there said he's not, there was a coup and whatever. Yes. And he said he's not going to take the presidential salary. He's going to continue taking his salary as a military leader. Yes. And what his government did in solidarity with him, and to show that they are serious about building the economy and building up their people, they too have decided to take a salary cut and put that money back into the economy and into programs and to education to make their country better. As a matter of fact, they produce tomatoes, yet they were importing tomato paste. You know what he said? No, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to build the factory here, make the tomato paste and sell it.
Exactly.
Why can't Jamaica do that? And the thing is, what is Jamaica's GDP? And what is Andrew Holness's salary? I saw an article the other day where Andrew Holness's salary is 40 times that of Jamaica's GDP. Make that make some sense. You see?
Can't make sense.
So, right. And if the country is importing more than it is exporting, you're always going to be running a deficit.
Because the country as it is now importing, I think, $5.3 billion. And we are only exporting $1.3 billion. So that makes sense, right?
They're always running a deficit, and instead of when They go to the negotiating table all the time.
Yes.
Why not come with new and innovative ideas and take it to their stakeholders and their partners that they want to invest and say, you know what factories can you put in Jamaica? They have the land space, they have the climate for it. And they can have the water should not be a problem because Jamaica is surrounded by water. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's the harvesting of the water is the issue. How they run the pipes, how that infrastructure needs to be put in to provide adequate water supply for the Jamaican people. So at their negotiating table, how about talking to them about bringing factories in? Because you know, everybody talk about the Singapore model. What natural resources does Singapore have?
Exactly.
But they have a lot of factories.
Exactly.
And they bring in raw material, they make some stuff, make some of this stuff, and they send it and they export it. And they use that money to build their economy. Now Jamaica has all this land space, and the only thing that they're investing in is hotels. Jamaica does not need one more hotel because it is not doing what it's the hotel industry is not serving the Jamaican people and the Jamaican economy the way the government would want people to believe. It's simply not.
No.
Because when you book a fare, when you book a trip to go to Jamaica, the majority of the money stays. Because first of all, the travel agency is not even in Jamaica. You're booking it online. So the companies the companies that own these agencies are overseas. So they're the ones getting the lion's share of the money.
Exactly.
When they go there, where's the craft market? They're going to all inclusive. So everything is there. These people don't have to go outside on the streets of Old and Montego Bay and Negril like they used to and buy things from the craft market and buy things from the locals. So they don't have to. And that used to support that kind of that micro economy that he talks about. That economy was supported by the people being able to leave the hotels and go into the town squares and buy and support the craft vendors. So you don't have that anymore because everything is there. Where are these things being made?
Exactly.
Are the craft items being made in Jamaica? What percentage of these things that they're selling in the hotels, what percentage of those are really sourced from locals? And what percentage comes in from overseas? What about the food? What percentage of the food that is served at the hotels? Forget ackee and saltfish and roast breadfruit. Okay, even the saltfish is imported. Forget the ackee, forget the breadfruit. And you might be getting imported ackee too if you're not careful. Right? So what percentage of the food served at the hotels is locally sourced as against imported?
Exactly.
So any way you look at it, the government is not working on the behalf of people because they are not coming up with new and innovative ideas to meet the times that we're in right now. You're going to say, okay, the policies of the 1970s cannot work now. Says who? Why not tweak it to suit the now? Tweak it to suit modern technology. Because you always need skills training. You always need vocational training. But you need skills training because you still need the plumber, you still need the electrician, you still need the person who's going to fix your car, but you also need skills training centers for people to learn coding and all that kind of stuff. You need STEM schools. You need places that teach, institutions and community centers that teach computer technology. So you can tweak these things to suit the now, but the government is not being innovative enough to address the needs of the people using the resources that they have. They have the land. The people are willing to farm. There are some parishes that produce some things better than other parishes. Why have they not looked at that and tapped into those resources?
But even like for small Jamaican business, because I heard you spoke it earlier.
To Jamaica. We have the people, and we have the we can provide some of the raw material, not all of it, but we can provide some of the material. You make pepper. If you look at some of the Grace Kennedy products, they're not products of Jamaica. They're made someplace else.
Yes. That's true.
But they're grace products. So you have to read the label and you go, oh my goodness. So why can't that plant be in Jamaica? That's all I'm saying. Put the manufacturing there, because when you bring manufacturing generates good paying jobs. If you have honest people who will not siphon off the money to line their pockets and the pockets of their friends, they can provide good paying jobs through manufacturing. And when you bring the manufacturing company, you know what is going to increase again? Housing, because you're going to need housing for the people who work in the manufacturing company. But when you bring the housing, what you're going to need? You're going to need to have hospitals working, because the people need to go to the doctors. Now, when you have the hospital, you're going to need police station. When you have the police station, you're going to need a fire station. And then you're going to need proper roads. So you see the whole infrastructure that can be built around just bringing.
Yes, you're coming in and out, Sister Maria. And that is a situation.
Things. There are so many places that they can put manufacturing plants in Jamaica that will make the economy better and provide jobs and will help young people to stay out of trouble, because they say, you know, the devil finds work for idle hands. The young people have no outlet. They have no jobs. They need to be educated. So provide the sources, provide the jobs, bring back manufacturing.
Yes. Well, you know, Christine Gilbert said it's a lack of vision, and rightly said. Because why we cannot get into the manufacturing mode rather than depending on a service industry? You understand, that cannot take us nowhere. And as you rightly said, as it relates to the service industry, right? Most of the money, right, is going overseas. As it relates to the service industry, majority of the money is not circulating in the country. Right? And so then we need to get on top in terms of start to focus. Because the problem as it relates to Jamaica, you know, we cannot be continue to play what? $2 billion in servicing debt, Sister Maria. $2 billion in servicing debt. We are not paying down the debt, you know. So I want Jamaican people to understand, we are not paying down the debt. We are paying $2 billion in servicing the debt. So when I look at that now, how we are going to move? What's that? We sit with this government over 8 years. What Portia Simpson had done, right? Simply mean being eroded by Andrew Holness-led government. Being eroded by Andrew Holness-led government. Because in terms of this government built on what the PNP had done, right? In terms of, okay, having the vision now to build on what Portia had done in terms of, you understand, you know, going into the manufacturing, right? Think about manufacturing and so forth, right? To increase employment. They are lying about unemployment reduce, right? Where, I mean, it is just foolishness in terms of fabricating all those stuff. When the people need real jobs, real manufacturing jobs, right? Real manufacturing jobs. So, I mean, as it relates to this government, it's only for the elite, right? And their friends, and having money in their pocket. They care nothing about the poor. Well, you know, obviously, Brittany, Andrew is all about filling his craw and run. He doesn't care about Jamaica. Exactly. Right? We can't continue as it relates to just only service industry. I am not saying that the service industry is not good enough. Right? That is not what I'm saying. Right? But we cannot make it be the primary, right, source of revenue for us. Because obviously it is not doing all of that they believe that it is doing for us. Majority of the money being made in Jamaica. You understand? Servicing foreigners who own the hotels.
Yeah, but Mystic Sensation, listen to this. Imagine they were putting manufacturing plants at the pace that they are doing hotels. Same pace. And instead of hotels, there were manufacturing plants. better, you'd have a booming economy.
Exactly.
Because manufacture stuff there, and there's a domino effect of having a manufacturing plant.
Yes.
You see, so just investing alone in hotels and service industry is not. And the thing is, do the same. Okay, they have what you call the call centers. Cut down on the call centers. Bring in manufacturing companies. Bring in manufacturing plants. Less call centers, more manufacturing plants. Less hotels, more manufacturing plants. I'm not saying they cannot build hotels, but Jamaica does not need another hotel. What they need is a manufacturing plant. Bring in a manufacturing plant and watch the economy and watch the community change. Because they have so many areas, rural areas, where they can develop by putting manufacturing plants there.
Yes.
And changing the trajectory of the people's lives and changing the community by extension, because you have to build an entire infrastructure around that manufacturing plant. Don't bring the workers from overseas. The workers are right there. Train them for the jobs. They're right there. They're graduating from university. They're graduating from colleges. They're graduating from high school. They're graduating from They're graduating from vocational training schools. They're graduating from skills training centers. And many of them may not have gone to skills training centers, but they are very skilled. Very skilled. You can certify those people. So you will always have a steady flow of employment for your manufacturing plant, but at least try. You cannot close the door on the option of bringing in a manufacturing plant if they have not tried it again, because that's what most people are doing.
One that was up there before, yeah, exactly. So because here Christine Gilbert said we want training, right, which is true, development and overall education system to grow the economy, right? And that should be the focus of the government, right? And
yes, but you see, Christine touched on a very good point, and the last part of Christine's statement there is education to grow the economy. Yes. Jamaica had an over 90% literacy rate at one point. You remember that when that was?
Yes.
1970s, when you had Jamal.
Exactly.
When you had young people teaching other young people how to read and write. Okay? Who stopped all of that?
Edward Siaga damaged that.
Exactly.
Edward Siaga damaged that.
So the Jamaica Labour Party has a history of destroying programs, especially social programs that benefit the people, and bringing programs that just benefit a few people at the top.
Because that is capitalism.
But the JLP is a party that benefits the wealthy. The PNP is a party that benefits the poor. Look for the working class. Okay, so there has to be a reordering of things and a prioritizing of things in Jamaica. It cannot continue as is, and education has to be the center of all of that. Not only the ability to be able to read, write, and comprehend.
Exactly.
But to articulate. So education has to be the center of all that they're doing to build the economy. It cannot be an economy just built on hotels and call centers. No, go back to the base.
Yes.
School into primary school, into secondary, into high, into tertiary, can at least have the basic knowledge of being able to read, write, do basic arithmetic, and be able to comprehend and understand what it is that they're, because that is.
Well said, Maria. Well, okay.
Education.
So
skills training is education. So all of those things must be considered, but education is key to all of this.
All right. Thank you, Sister Maria. Well, we are going to about to close the program now. And so then of course I want to remind all the the listeners to tune in Friday. And remember, Thursday, as it relates to the Titans, we are going to be on the Titans as well. Right? On Friday, of course, we're going to have the bombshell as it relates to the Integrity Commission report. And, you know, before we go, again, we want to remind all the persons to support Daisy Magazine, right? So let us play it one more time.
Okay. I'm going to play that. But before we go, remember May 10th is
May
fast
10th.
approaching. It's this Friday. And it's the protest in front of the Jamaican consulate in New York, located at 300 East and 42nd Street in New York. So make sure you turn up in your numbers. And also the t-shirts will be available that you can wear in support of the march. And also who cannot be there physically, make sure you tune in virtually on the different platforms that will be broadcasting the march. So please, guys, if you can't be there, make sure that virtually at least you go on and support, because it's very important that we have the numbers, because we're trying to send a very important message. Okay. And also the t-shirts will be $45. $25. Oh my God. I am so sorry. $25.
Yeah, we are tired. We are extremely tired people because
$25, and it highlights a lot of the issues that our brothers and sisters are facing right now. And so make sure you support, and also support the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation, because that is another medium that will help with the initiative. So let me just go ahead and.
But as you're on that, Anne-Marie, you know, this march has not taken place as yet, and it is driving them crazy, because everybody is now coming out and saying, don't do this with them, don't listen to them, don't support them. And they do it because they know it is effective. But what they have not done is that they have not addressed the concerns raised.
Yes. There's an article
by the letter that Dr. Rupert Francis said, which started all of this. So until they address the concerns that the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, the real one, is talking about, then, you know, they have to just put up or shut up, because nobody is trying to bring the government down. Everybody's just trying to hold them accountable and saying, do better, because the people are suffering.
Yes, exactly.
So there's an article in the paper regarding the march on the demonstration on Friday, which was sent to me. Let me just send it to you, Baron, so I can bring it up. Take it out of Mystic Sensation and put it in your thing, and let me just bring it up here. Show what they're saying. Put it in your WhatsApp now. Let me just bring it up. Copy link. So government is shaken by, okay, let me just share that. So this is the article in the Jamaica Observer regarding, and it was published today, regarding the march that is going to be taking place in Jamaica. The government not shaken by scheduled May 10 protest in New York. Dissident diaspora group ignoring quiet diplomacy. And they have the flyer there. So the Jamaican government appears to be holding its nerve 3 days ahead of the planned protest in New York by a dissident diaspora group. The demonstration is planned for outside office of the Jamaican Consulate at 300 East 42nd Street in Manhattan to press home demands for greater engagement of the government with the diaspora on issues such as crime, corruption, poor healthcare services, participations in elections, and the like. Spokesman for the Jamaican Consulate in New York, Christopher Benjamin, said any significant media attention attracted by the event is not expected to affect the operations of the consulate. Benjamin, the community relation officer of what is possibly Jamaica's busiest consulate, said neither was the planned demonstration expected to worsen the situation caused by the recent travel advisory to the U.S. State Department. So they're still blaming us for that. Recent statement from our Minister of Tourism, Edward Bartlett, indicate that the advisory has not deterred tourists from visiting Jamaica, he said in response from the Jamaica Observer. Bartlett reported to Parliament last Tuesday that Jamaica tourist sector continued to chalk up performances during the just concluded fiscal year 2023 to 2024, with gross earnings projected to reach US $4.38 billion, an increase of 9.6% when compared with the previous year. So, of course, they're not blaming themselves for the poor conditions of our hospital and lack of resources and stuff. They're blaming the march that had taken place in May for the advisory that was sent out by the US regarding our healthcare system. So it's just a lot of figures there. Benjamin was careful to note that the Jamaican government acknowledges the right to protest, a principle that is deeply embedded in democratic societies, but he disclosed that the Consul General, Alcian Wilson, had not yet received any request for a meeting with the protesting group calling itself the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force and the newly registered Global Diaspora, Jamaica Diaspora Council. Consul General Wilson maintains a welcoming approach and is always willing to discuss issues that affect our community, said Benjamin. He added the government remains committed to open dialogue and continues to extend an invitation to all parties interested in constructive engagement. But apparently ignoring the government's quiet diplomacy, organizers of the protests were feverishly pressing ahead with plans for Friday's event, saying they had already secured permits from the New York Police Department. Dr. Rupert Francis, who heads the Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force, argued that we are where we are at the point because of a lack of any meaningful government response to our concerns in the past. However, we are willing to engage in all meaningful dialogue, but the protest on the 10th and the others will go forward. May 10 protests will follow one held in Miami on January 9th of this year. Other protest demonstrations have been announced for Washington, D.C., Canada, and the United Kingdom. And it goes on. So, guys, you can go ahead and read that article that they published today regarding Friday's event, upcoming event, I must say.
All right.
Okay. All right. So we have come to the end of our discussion, and thank you guys so much for tuning in and participating. Really appreciate each and every one. I'm just laughing at Cynthia's comment. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, guys, for your continued support. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and welcome to the Mystic Sensation family. And thank you for joining the movement, because we are on a path of educating our people so that they can make meaningful, well-informed, educated decision when the time comes, and also to highlight the many issues that are affecting our brothers and sisters at home and trying to get the pertinent information to them that has been kept back or been spoken in such words that they don't understand. So we try to break it down as simple as possible so that everybody can understand what is going on, because we can't turn our backs and say we are not going to get involved in the politics, because politics affects every aspect of our lives. They are the ones who are making decisions as to how we live, what we eat, where we live,
Exactly,
you know, and how we live. So we have to pay keen attention to what is happening and be serious about what we want for ourselves and our country, right? So thank you guys again. Really appreciate each and every one.
all right.
And have a wonderful and restful night. And we'll see you, see Baron on Thursday.
On Friday, Thursday on the Titans, on Friday, we're running out. Sister Maria, any last word?
Thanks for having me on. And you know, we pray for the Jamaican people, but they say faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
So we have to put the work in to make sure their lives are better. And people need to understand, if it's not now, then some point at some time in the future, but the accountability starts now. If you want, if the first step is now.
Yeah,
and we're willing to do the work for them, because they cannot speak up, because if they speak up, Andrew will find them underneath the bed and arrest them. And we don't want him to tarnish their reputation. So you know, so we have to defend them and make sure that their lives are better, one at a time, just one at a time. And that's, if we help one person, would have helped a lot. So that's what it's about.
I want to go try to find me on Friday when we run out upon him. All right.
So she chipped out again.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. So thank you so much again, and thank you, Maria from Daisy Magazine. Really appreciate you coming and joining in the discussion, and everyone in the chat. So have a wonderful and blessed night until we meet again. Safe travel on the gravel. Love you.
All right.